welcome back at another tutorial about the Korg WaveState native. At this tutorial we are going to take a look at how to recreate the key elements of the song Love on a Real Train from Tangerine Dream. We are going to use the Solar Stone remix for this, and we are going to recreate the 4 most important parts of that song in the 4 layers of the WaveState native. Well, as we know, the most important part is of course that famous sequence of this song. So let's load up an init performance to start. Init performance. And we have the famous synth to saw sound. And we are going to program that sequence in layer A. So let's go to the wave sequence tab. And we are going to create a 9-cell timing lane in tempo mode. So let's set it to tempo and create 9 slots. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Set the loop points accordingly, the endpoint and the loop points. And we need a sample for this to play that song. For this tutorial we are going to take one sample from the lead category. And it's the Pulse 30% Poly 6 for this sound. Okay, let's play it. Yeah, that's good. You also hear that it's crossfades, so set the crossfades to 0 for the timing lane. Yeah, perfect. And we have to create the sound. Now we do this quickly, we know the drill. Set the envelope to around 70. Set the cutoff a little bit lower, and let's create a filter envelope. Set the attack low. Decay sustain to 0. And the release to 0. And we are going to re-trigger the envelope at every step. Generate a step pulse. Yeah, that's good. Let's create a timing lane. Well, the timing lane is basically that it's all 8 notes and 2 of them are 16 notes. That's why we need 9 slots, because 2 16s is 1 8. And we create that on slot 4. We set it to 116, so that's quicker there. And on slot 6 we are going to do the same, also 116. So we are starting to recognize the rhythm of that famous sequence. But we also need the pitch lane to create the notes for that sequence. So also create 9 cells for that one. Set the points accordingly, the loop points and the endpoints. And for that pattern, we enter the following pitch information. +5, +3, +5, 0, +5, +5, +3, -2, and 0. So now we have recreated that sequence. And now we are going to create the sound a little bit better. Let's do something with the filter. Yes, and we are going to create some effects on top of it. So let's add a delay effect. And for the delay effect we are going to use the multiband mod delay, and this is a good preset for that. Yes, it's instantly alive, and we are also going to use the compressor on top of that. So even with just activating the default of those insert effects, it already gives it much more bite. We are also going to use a reverb on top of that. And let's use the preset Ultimate Vega Star. And set the size to maximum and the time to around 80%. And the wet dry to around 20. To give it a little bit of air. Okay, basically now we are done with that specific sequence. So we've created that one. The next key element in that song is an electric piano. So let's create an electric piano. Go to the wave sequence. We have the standard sound again. And we are going to use it in subtractive mode. And basically what that means is that we are going to use only one cell in gate mode. And we are also going to use one sample, and let's clean up the rest. So now we have a simple subtractive synth. Okay, and we are going to use a sample for that electric piano. So we are going to look for a specific sample in the keys category. And we are going to take the EP Guru Castle Walls Dry. Okay, now we have an electric piano. Okay, it benefits already of the reverb effect, and we are going to make it a little less muddy. And we are going to do that by removing some of the low end of the electric piano sound. So take the graphic EQ. We have 3 bands over here, and when we use it, you can do subtle changes. But what we are going to do is remove the complete low bands from this graphic in this graphic EQ. You hear it's much lighter now, and we are going to give it a little bit of high end. So a very nice electric piano with just selecting that sample and adding a little bit of EQ. Now also give it a little bit of chorus, and we are going to use the default modern chorus, and let's add a subtle effect like the clean E-guitar effect on top of that. That's more than enough by just selecting it. Also a great sound for instance when you play jazz like this. Very warm electric piano sound and great for this Tangerine Dream song. Now the next part is that we need a pad sound beneath it. And let's load up one of the default pads, and let's take, for instance, the Ocean Wave Pad GL. And when you play this pad sound, very nice, but also really in your face, and we just want to have a basic pad beneath the sounds. So let's modify this sound. We go to the wave sequence, and we see that it uses 2 samples, and we are going to remove the second sample for that. And we are going to make it darker. Yeah, let's remove the LFO. And let's remove the crossfading by setting it to gate mode. that's good enough. And we need that specific rhythm for that train. So let's go to layer D and select one of the programs, and that one is called hi-hats. And when we are using this sample, yeah, you hear that it uses a couple of those different kind of samples, but we only want to use the head whack sample. So cut this one and set the sample end step to 4 and the end step also to 4. And we are going to do the same for the shape A4. So now we have this specific pattern. So now we are a long way, but we don't want to hear all those things together everywhere. So when I play it like this, sounds like nothing. So we are going to change that. First, let's activate the sync nodes for layer A and layer D. And we are going to set up the keyboard sounds in such a way that we can activate it on with one key. Now this song is in F minor, and we can set it to, for instance, a C, to this note, for instance. Yeah, we set it on the C note. So let's like this. So let's set up the scale for that and set this high to C2, and this one 2, also C2. And let's do the same for the hi-hats. So we have now set one note for that specific pattern. So if I play other notes, you won't hear it unless I hit that C2 note. And there it is. But now when we want to play it, it's too low. So let's add an octave for that. 2 octaves. That's good. But now we have to hold that note with our hand, and we don't want that. So go to the setup tab, and we have an hold parameter over here. And when we set that for layer A, and we also want the hi-hats going on, when we hit that note now, you don't have to hit it again. You have to deactivate it by deselecting the layer again, because the hold mode keeps active. But it gives us the possibility to keep our hands free to play all the other parts on top of that. So basically what we did now is saying, hey, whenever I hit that note, keep playing that sequence so that we can play whatever we want on layer B and layer C. Now we did that. We also want to say, hey, the electric piano is only needed for the high notes. The rest is just pad sounds for the bass. So also set for layer B something like this. Set it to C4, for instance. So, and when we play it now, but when we hit the B3 note, you only will hear the bass line of the pad bass. This is the B note. You can see it over here below. But when the piano starts here. So that means that we now can play the bass sound low. And that's basically it. Now the only thing we have to, what is left to do is set up the correct levels for that song. So let's do that now. Let's see, during test play you can fine-tune the levels. Okay, that sounds good, but we also need some EQing on top of that. So let's do that. Give it a little bit of high end. And let's look at the annoying frequencies and modify those. Okay, so and basically now we are done. Let's play the song. So basically that's it. That's the basic of the Tangerine Dream Love on a Real Train song. And of course you can do lots of edits on your sounds and to make it even better. So have fun recreating your own version of the Tangerine Dream's Love on a Real Train song. So bye for now and let's see you in the next tutorial.